Inspirational childhood story of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is one of the biggest entertainers that Hollywood has ever witnessed and has achieved global stardom. Johnson has had a long journey and has worked very hard to reach this level. Before stepping into Hollywood, The Rock took over the professional wrestling world when he debuted for the WWE. Many of The Rock's fans who have followed him for years know that he had a stellar WWE career. Recently, the Hollywood megastar, with his in-house $7 production and NBC, created a comedy hit series called Young Rock. NBC sitcom Young Rock takes fans on a memory ride of Dwayne Johnson's career. The comedy series explores the childhood of a WWE superstar and how his father, Rocky Johnson, rose into the wrestling business. Dwayne Johnson was born on 2nd of May 1972 to mother Ada Johnson and father Rocky Johnson in Hayward, California. The Rock's father was a well-known professional wrestler during the 70s and 80s. While growing up, The Rock lived with his mother's family in New Zealand, where he schooled at Richmond Road Primary School in Grey Lynn. Soon Dwayne moved to the United States and Hawaii because of his father's growing prominence in wrestling. The Rock was just 13-year-old when he started hitting the gym with his father, Rocky Johnson. At 14, Johnson started playing football, and he realized that football would be his dream. However, his family was forced to leave Hawaii when they lost their jobs and couldn't pay rent. It was a hard time for the Johnson family. Dwayne even admits to being arrested multiple times for theft and fighting in his teens. Finally, in 1995, Dwayne Johnson tried to achieve his lifelong football dream in the Canadian Football League. Johnson played as a defensive tackle from 1991 to 1994 for the University of Miami. Dwayne's performance at the University of Miami earned a scholarship, which allowed him to sign with the Calgary Stampeders of the CFL. However, because of many injuries in high school, Johnson's stint as a footballer was cut short within 2 months. This was the rock-bottom moment for Dwayne Johnson until he followed in his father's footsteps in pro wrestling. Dwayne Johnson was born into a family of fighters. Johnson's father, Rocky Johnson, and his maternal grandfather Peter Maivia wrestled for WWF. This makes Dwayne Johnson the first third-generation wrestler in the Anoa'i family. Even The Rock's grandmother was a pioneer of Polynesian pro wrestling. Johnson's grandmother Leah Maivia was one of the first female promoters in professional wrestling. WWE's blue brand, SmackDown, was unknown until The Rock started using the word on television from the late 90s to the early 2000s. It took 10 years for the Merriam-Webster Collegiate Dictionary to formally recognize SmackDown in 2007. However, in 2020, Johnson credited the original owner responsible for the term SmackDown. Harvey Wippleman, aka Downtown Bruno, may have used the word first time in Johnson's early years. Downtown Bruno has helped Dwayne a lot during his junior years. When Dwayne Johnson was 16-year-old, he had already started bulking up. In addition, he also grew a full sprouted mustache. In his high school, Johnson looked elder than his classmates. Johnson always wanted to become an NFL football player. Nevertheless, Dwayne Johnson fulfilled his football dream when, earlier this year, he introduced 2 teams at the NFL Super Bowl IV. From smacking opponents inside the squared circle to smashing box office records in Hollywood, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has done it all.